Welcome. Let's jump right into today's explainer. I am absolutely pumped to guide you through a topic that completely reframes something we all interact with literally every single day. Before we even get started, I want you to do a quick favor for me. Just take a second and look down at what you're wearing right now. Maybe it's a super cozy sweater, a tailored jacket, or, just a plain old t-shirt. Really look at it and reevaluate its purpose. We usually think of our garments as just basic necessities, right? Fabric to keep us warm, or maybe a fun way to express our personal style. But what if the threads on your back have a much deeper, more profound purpose?
Can clothes stir us to act? It's a pretty wild hook, isn't it? Today, we're exploring this fascinating concept of the performative power of our daily outfits. It's this idea that the garments we carefully pick out and put on our bodies aren't just passive objects hanging in a closet. No way. They hold an active, kinetic role. They have the potential to actually spark change, shift our mindsets, and literally move us into action.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. Meet Patrick McDowell, a pioneer in high-end design.
To make this abstract idea super tangible, we're going to look at an incredible case study. Patrick McDowell is a pioneering British high-end designer, and the work he's doing is frankly mind-blowing. McDowell isn't just sketching clothes, he's completely redefining how the whole fashion ecosystem operates. By taking discarded materials, we're talking reclaimed fabrics and dead stock from major luxury brands, and transforming them into these breathtaking high-fashion pieces, McDowell has rapidly become one of the absolute most sought-after designers in the entire industry. I mean, the biggest names in the business are watching him like a hawk, because his work challenges the very foundation of how clothing is made and consumed.
Moving on to Section 2, Feeling versus Acting and the Performative Power of Clothing.
Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is the underlying philosophy of his creations. Let's unpack the why behind the wardrobe. This quote perfectly captures his ethos, harnessing the performative power of clothing to not only make us feel, but to stir us to act. I actually really want you to let that sink in for a second. This right here is the emotional crux of our explainer today. Clothing is essentially being weaponized, but in the absolute best possible way, as a catalyst for real-world change.
This brilliantly illustrates the massive philosophical shift we're talking about. Historically, the main goal of traditional fashion has been making us feeling confident, feeling comfortable, feeling trendy. And that's a completely internal, passive experience. But contrast that against McDowell's innovative goal, stirring us to act. It's a huge leap. It bridges the gap between high-end fashion and real-world momentum. It basically demands that we step up and become active participants, rather than just passive consumers wandering around a shopping mall.
Which brings us to Section 3, the Circular Economy Explained, a macro framework. Let's zoom out a bit to see how this fits into a much larger global picture, because McDowell definitely isn't operating in a vacuum here. We're shifting from the micro case study of his specific designs to the macro framework that is actively supporting and driving this revolutionary way of thinking. Enter the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. They're an international charity, and their main gig is developing and promoting the idea of a circular economy. You can really think of them as the systemic engine behind this whole sustainable movement. They're providing the comprehensive roadmap that brilliant minds like McDowell are using to carve out a totally new path for the industry.
So, the crucial point is this. What exactly is a circular economy? Well, it's a system driven by design that eliminates waste and pollution, circulates products and materials, and regenerates nature. I want to put a massive spotlight on those first few words, driven by design. This is absolutely crucial. This isn't about scrambling to manage waste or recycle after the damage is already done. No, it's about actively designing the system from day one so that waste literally never exists in the first place. It's a total rewiring of how we create.
All right, let's look at Section 4, Designing a Better Future, the 3 Pillars of Circularity.
Let's break down the specific blueprint of this economic definition, because these pillars aren't just fancy corporate jargon. They are the exact tools designers are using to build a better future. So here are the 3 foundational pillars. Step 1. Eliminates waste and pollution. This means rethinking the very DNA of our materials so that nothing ends up rotting away in a landfill. It's about designing out the negative impacts right from the jump. Step 2. Circulates products and materials. This is all about keeping things in use at their absolute highest value. Think extending a garment's lifespan, sharing it, repairing it, or repurposing it, instead of just instantly throwing it in the trash. And finally, Step 3. Regenerates nature. Take a breath and really think about that one. Instead of just taking, extracting, and depleting from our environment, this system is inherently designed to actively heal and improve the natural world. It is an incredibly powerful shift away from that outdated take, make, waste model.
Which brings us to our final and maybe most important thought for you today. How will you participate in the circular future of fashion? The blueprint is definitely there. Designers like Patrick McDowell are laying the foundation, and the Ellen MacArthur Foundation has provided the framework. But a circular economy requires all of us to actually close the loop. So, the next time you look inside your wardrobe, or the next time you're thinking about buying something new, I want you to remember the performative power of your choices. Will your clothes merely make you feel, or will they stir you to act? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this deep dive leaves you reflecting on your own habits and totally eager to learn even more about the incredible potential of a circular future.